Привет, друзья! Как дела? My name is Fedor, and today we'll practice your listening. We'll have the same story about going to the store on 3 different levels. Beginner, just the most beginner out there, intermediate, and then advanced. Same idea, we'll slowly complicate things. So, we'll start with just reading those texts and then we'll break it down. We'll break down not just what I said, but the vocabulary, right? So, all the words that I said, we'll talk about them, highlight them, and see what has changed and how can we go from something simple to something more advanced with your sentences too. So, I have this text in front of me right now. So, here goes the absolute beginner text. If you're an absolute beginner, you should aim for understanding. Here we go. Я иду в магазин. В магазине есть хлеб. Я беру хлеб. Я вижу яблоки. Я беру яблоки. Я плачу деньги. Я иду домой. That is all. Simple enough. Hope all of you understood what I said. We'll later look at the text. Now, let's go a level higher. You may not understand everything, but just listen to how I say things so you can listen to the nonverbal things, the tone, the pacing, and all of that. So, understanding should not be your number one priority here, unless you are more advanced in the Russian language. Here we go. Сегодня я иду в магазин возле моего дома. Мне нужно купить хлеб, молоко и яблоки. В магазине много людей, поэтому я жду в очереди. Я беру корзину и иду к полкам. Я нахожу хлеб и молоко, выбираю свежие яблоки. На кассе я плачу картой. Потом я возвращаюсь домой и делаю чай с яблоком и хлебом. That's the second variation. A bit more detail now. Now let's move on to the third text. Again, if you're an absolute beginner, you will not understand the meaning of it. Just simply listen for pacing. If you're an intermediate level, this should be a challenge and you will understand some words here and there, not all of it. If you're an advanced learner, this should be easy for you already. And you should probably be listening to Russian interviews or something like that. Here we go. Сегодня я решил сходить в ближайший супермаркет, потому что дома почти ничего не осталось. Перед выходом я составил небольшой список: хлеб, молоко, яблоки и сыр. В магазине было довольно людно. Видимо, все решили сделать покупки к вечеру. Я взял корзину у входа и спокойно прошел между полками. Сначала выбрал свежий хлеб, потом долго смотрел разные виды сыра и выбрал тот, который люблю больше всего. Яблоки оказались крупные и ароматные, я взял несколько. На кассе пробился быстро, оплатил покупку картой и вышел на улицу. Дома я разложил продукты и сделал себе бутерброд с сыром. Получилось просто, но очень вкусно. And now let's take a look at it line by line. Something more easy all the way to something more complicated, and take a look at more detail that we add with each level of difficulty. Again, this should have been a listening challenge. Now let's move on to a vocabulary challenge. So first one was just Я иду в магазин. I'm going to the store. We had the same thing here in the second level of difficulty. Я иду в магазин. But we added 2 more things to this. Сегодня, today, возле моего дома, near my home. So I go to the store, change to сегодня я иду в магазин. Today I go to the store near my house. Now the third level of difficulty is сегодня, again today, я решил сходить. I decided to go. Now, in essence, it's the same thing. I'm going versus I decided to go. In essence, communicates the same thing, but it's just a bit of a detail. I decided to go. And instead of saying в магазин to a store, возле моего дома, is something more literal, near my house. We fit that all into в ближайший супермаркет, into the nearest supermarket. Supermarket in Russia is not just like a huge mall or grocery store like you have a Walmart in the US type thing, but it can be something smaller, something more local, something just way tinier than that. Also can be called supermarket. And that should be it. And this is the meaning that was in the first two levels too, but then we're adding the reasoning. Потому что дома почти ничего не осталось. Because at home, there was almost nothing left. If you're at this level of the advanced kind of category, make sure that you don't just say the most basic thing. I go to the store. Я иду в магазин. Add a bit of a detail. Add a bit of a reasoning to it so it can be more detailed. Just like in this text. Next sentence was в магазине есть хлеб. Okay? There's bread at the store. Хлеб is bread here, of course. Instead, second line said мне нужно купить. I need to buy. Хлеб, молоко и яблоки. Bread, milk, and apples. So instead of saying something more basic, there is bread at the store, we said I need to buy bread. Now, of course, there's a slightly different meaning, but if you're trying to communicate the most simple idea of you needing to get bread, that's how you're going to go with this first line. Third level. Перед выходом я составил небольшой список. Before leaving the house, I made a little list. So instead of saying мне нужно купить, I need to buy, you said before I left, I made a small list of items. Хлеб, молоко, яблоки и сыр. And so we're also adding cheese here to the list of groceries. Okay? So again, more descriptive, more detailed, exactly what happened. Next, this sentence did not exist with the first level of difficulty because it's just an additional detail that could not be explained with the most basic words. В магазине много людей. There is many people at the store. Поэтому я жду в очереди. That's why I'm waiting in line. So, same thing here в магазине, but instead of saying много людей, there is a lot of people at the store, we say было довольно людно. It was pretty populated, okay? Pretty tight. Людно means there's many people. So pretty much много людей fits into one word людно. Людно is a very rare word to learn for learners, right? But много and людей are common words. So we can simplify it to just людно. It's like a combination. Have you ever played that? It's not chemistry, it's called alchemy on the phone when you combine two items like water and fire and you get steam. Same thing here. Много plus людей equals людно. Okay? And then, instead of giving the reasoning, that's why I'm waiting in line, we say видимо, apparently. Все решили сделать покупки к вечеру. Everybody decided to shop before the evening. So now we're not just talking about ourselves. We're talking about other people too, because we have the vocabulary for that. Now, we're going to go on. We have a lot more to cover here, but I wanted to invite all of you guys to our BeFluent camp that starts on January the 5th of 2026. But if you're watching this video after that date, we run these camps twice a year. Join us if you want to learn Russian in an intensive manner. It's an 8-week course for all of you guys who are serious learners who want to take these kind of practical lessons into more of an everyday thing. We do this stuff, not the exact format, but similar, in the focus of speaking and communication. We break down native speech, we listen a whole lot, we speak a whole lot as well, and so it's a more practical approach to your Russian. Get your Russian to the next level with BeFluent Camp with the first link in the description. We do these camps twice a year. Next one coming January 5th, 2026. Now, again, this sentence did not exist with the first level. Я беру корзину и иду к полкам. I take the basket and go to the aisles. Here, я взял корзину у входа. We're adding the detail у входа by the entrance. I took the basket by the entrance. И спокойно прошел между полками and calmly walked near the aisles or across the aisles. So, something a bit more спокойно, calmly, у входа, by the entrance. Again, a bit more detail. Yeah. Next. Я беру хлеб Я вижу яблоки, я беру яблоки. I take bread, I see apples, I take apples. The most basic idea in the world. And you can see that we have three separate sentences for this. Each of them have я. That's the most basic idea. But here we just combine it in just one sentence. Я нахожу хлеб и молоко. I see bread and milk. Выбираю свежие яблоки and I'm choosing fresh apples. Here we go a bit more detail. Сначала выбрал свежий хлеб. At first I chose a fresh bread. Потом долго смотрел разные виды сыра. Then I looked for different variety of cheeses for a long time. Долго here. A long time. И выбрал тот and chose the one, который люблю больше всего. I like the most. I like more than others. Okay? Again, super detailed. You may not know like свежий or выбрал, chose, or больше всего, more than anything else. And this is the exact point of this lesson. If you're not on that level yet, you should be looking for those words to spice up your Russian a little bit, to add more detail to it, and not just go like this. Я беру хлеб, I take bread, I see apples, I take apples. More robotic, more beginner friendly, but something more detailed. So strive for more of this level if you're already up there in the level. Next, did not exist in the first and second levels. Яблоки оказались крупные и ароматные. The apples turned out to be big and have a big aroma, or like very smelly in a good way. Я взял несколько. I took a couple. I took a few. Я плачу деньги. First level, I pay money. Very simple. I pay money, right? На кассе я плачу картой. At the checkout, I pay with a card. So, я плачу деньги, you wouldn't really see a native say that because we rarely say I pay money. It would be more like I pay with the card, I pay with cash. And that's what we did with this one. На кассе at the checkout, я плачу картой, I pay with card. Again, на кассе at the checkout, same thing. Пробился быстро. Пробить is when you scan each item. Poop, 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 poop. Okay? Пробился быстро. I got checked out quickly. Either by a clerk or by a person working there, or self-checkout as well. It doesn't get specified here. Оплатил покупку картой. Paid for the purchase with card. И вышел на улицу. И вышел на улицу and went outside, went onto the street. На улицу here doesn't mean literally onto the street, means outside really. And the last one. Я иду домой. I go home. Потом я возвращаюсь домой. Then I return home. And a different detail. И делаю чай с яблоком и хлебом. And make tea with apple and bread. The third level is even more detailed here. Дома я разложил продукты. At home I put the groceries up. Заварил чай, made tea, и сделал себе бутерброд с сыром and made myself a sandwich with cheese. Получилось просто. It was fairly simple, но очень вкусно, but very tasty. That is all. Now we have broken down each text. Go back to the beginning of the video and play it again. You now know what I said, so it's going to be a bit easier for you to listen to what I said without the text on the screen. That is all. Join IB Fluent Camp if you want to take care of these more practical things of your Russian with this button right here or with the first link in the description. Or keep on watching our YouTube videos with this next one. It's up to you.